All right, hello everyone. If you can see or hear this means I've done something right, and I sincerely hope so. But we shall see. Welcome, because this is my first attempt at a regular stream, and if some people might know from earlier this afternoon, I've had a few false starts. Seems that in trying to get this going, I scheduled streams on YouTube but never appeared, so I'm sorry for the confusion and thank everyone for their patience. But pardon me as I just can go over to my YouTube to see if it's actually behaving. Or to my yes, I see my stream on there. I see people talking. Yes, unfortunately, what I'd hoped the chat feature would work. Oh, no, actually, it looks like it is. Oh, so many. See, this is all new for me. As my friend Sapphire Heartsong is fond of saying, old man. Yes, the old man is doing a stream. And it's all a bit overwhelming at first. This is the first time, so expect a lot of trial and error. But I will do my best to entertain. So right now, I'm going to, since I can't seem to get the chat to appear in my time, it's going for that. It's going over there, though. Wow. Lots of people. So, greetings all. Thank you for joining me. What am I doing trying to stream? What am I doing trying to cross this generational divide I feel with the rest of all the world? Well, a lot of reasons. First and foremost, I had a lot of fun presenting at, wow, I keep wanting to say Pony Air, but that's coming up. But we did an online stream, Pony Fest Online. And I just enjoyed getting to present and talk to people, overcoming the physical divide that is affecting everyone in the world right now. And two, I wanted to let people know that I'm still active, still working towards projects. But primarily, and this is the reason behind this stream, I have a Patreon. And I have committed the very terrible mistake of falling behind in it and leaving people hanging, which was never an intent, but I made two very big mistakes. The first is underestimating people's support. I thought I'd get maybe 10 followers, maybe $100 max when I began. And the outpouring of support was fantastic. But my second mistake was setting up rewards that demanded time away from a video. So I could either work on the next after the fact, or I could work on what I promised a Patreon supporter. And I made choices, but I realized that because I set up a conflicting goal for myself, I let a lot of people down. So my thought now is using streaming to try and both keep people up to date with where I am in the next video development, and also work on Patreon rewards. Let people know the process, see what I'm doing, and that way start to dig myself out of a hole. And ideally, I'll be doing this every Friday. We'll adapt as life unfolds, and goodness knows we're all doing that. But I'm pleased that people have turned out and are taking a look. I'm very grateful. Oh, and hope I see some folks saying, "Hope you are staying safe and sound." Oh yes, this is this is funny. If I watch the full screen of my YouTube stream, I can see everyone's comments on both Twitch and YouTube. So it's funny. It's this is the wonders of modern technology. So what have I been doing? First and foremost, well, it's here on the screen. You are seeing a live feed from my Illustrator. This is the program I use for all my vectors. So much vectoring, including here. This is the Silver Stables Retirement Home. And here is the compilation screenshots. This is where they were fading from seeing Silver stream to see if she knew where Dusty Pages had gone. And then they pan over and over, and you see the whole place. So I compiled all these individual screenshots. So, boop. Well, some are more individual than others. There we go. I can make a look. I can make a pony walk. He, her, he, her, he, her. This is cheap animation and cheaper entertainment. And then, through the wonders of vectoring, I create this replica. This is the outline view. This is where you see everything as if it were kind of a blueprint. And if you can make heads or tails of it, I salute you. I'm the one who put this together, and even I don't know what it looks like sometimes. See this choppy bit right here? That's a cloud. If I go back, choppy bit is a cloud. The cloud. All right, I'm just checking folks out. Love your video. Love your videos. Looking forward to future projects. Stop peeping on old ponies. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm just looking at the landscape. But what's coming down the pipe? Well, this is obviously for my next video, which will be the point of no return. Nobody had done a vector of this, and so I decided I needed to do it myself. This is the reason why my videos take so long. I am writer, editor, graphic, and vocal talent all in one. So I can be slower than molasses in winter. Next up, let's see here, is what I'm going to be working on next. I need to make a Genji pony. Yes, I'm going to use this in the video. I won't tell you how or why. But I've obviously got my online reference, and then a quick search revealed, oh, someone beat me to this. Now, shame on me, I don't have the artist credit right in front of me. Let me just look this up real quick. I found it through Pinterest. And it is in very poor taste to not credit the actual author. Let's see. Genji Pony, here you are. Frostback Cat. Tumblr address is frostbackcat.tumblr.com. So apparently this person has devoted themselves to doing the entire Overwatch team as ponies, for which I salute them. And no, I'm not just going to copy that look, but it's always good to look to other fans for more inspiration. So that's what I'll be working on this, but that is not what I'm doing tonight. As I said, this is Fulfillment Friday. I want to fulfill some Patreon pledges, including a pose set for a character. Don't need to save because I didn't really change anything that I want. This is Night Mist. He is an OC of one of my supporters, and I promised as a reward tier to do a pose set, which is rather lengthy. I started, but time gets in the way, and again, really, you never have the time you want. You got to make the time. Ergo, here I be. So, what is involved in a pose set? Well, let me just try to overwhelm you for a sec. So here are all the poses active, lined up, and in wireframe view. On a more individual side, you have things like just looking at the audience. But what if you're doing a collab? You're going to want to look over at your collab partner. And in a weird way, sometimes you need to look behind. And that's basically the structure I do. I create a pose, like being absolutely starstruck, or gleeful. Just little changes. And then you do it with the eyes going different directions. So there's always 3 variations on a pose. It's basic, but I find it offers a little bit more versatility. And of course, you're going to want people to be able to talk. My early videos, sometimes it's okay if the beak is not open while I'm talking. I look more like a Digimon talking. But really, I need to be visible. I need to let people know. So, yes, and yes, someone in the chat is saying a batcorn. It is, yeah, why not? Why not enjoy? I don't know Night Mist's full origins, but I could fully see him giving himself bat wings through a unique spell. Why not? I don't subscribe to, oh, he's sad because people think people see an Alicorn OC or similar, and they say, it's a Gary Stu. Why? Why? Granted, it's something unusual, but over the course of My Little Pony, we witnessed several animation goofs or just background references where there were alicorns. Heck, Las Pegasus has fully working male alicorns guiding ships in. So you know what? Once the show breaks the rules, why not have a little fun with it? I see people saying Silver-Quill, Silver-Quill, Silver-Quill. And appreciate it. Hello, big fans. Much appreciated. And glad to have you all here. So I've been going through and following a checklist. I've just tried to have a variety of poses. And in time, there'll be even more variants. So it actually got to the point where I had to make a spreadsheet just to keep tabs on what what do I need to make next. See, in time, I'll have the head-on portrait. Here's an interesting difference. Let's look at like the neutral looking at people. Notice how the diameter of his eyes, the pupils, yes, the pupils. Then on the portrait, I feel like because the cornea is smaller, the eyes are actually looking a little bit more creepy. You know, it's like, oh, he's staring right into my soul. Oftentimes, I find the best rule is bigger eyes. Also, let's mirror that. This is my reflect tool. One quick entry, tell it to swap it on the vertical, and boom. Bigger eyes mean greater empathy and much more approachability. And I don't want OCs to scare people, unless that's the intent, in which case I'll do my best to strive for something from your nightmares. So, there we go. Oh, and I see you, the amazing Gumbell. Thanks for coming back. What drawing and animation program do I use? This is Adobe Illustrator, and that's my primary one. For a time, I was more a Photoshop guy because in Photoshop, you can create much more natural gradients, but it can be a lot like mixing paint. I fell in love with Illustrator and learned it by vectoring My Little Pony because I can manipulate anything. See? You want the horn over here? There you go. Here we go. There you go. Now he's not an Alcorn. But then there's the greatest control command in the entire universe. Command Z, because I'm on a Mac. Undo. Control Z for you Windows users. But let's face it, life would be so much better if we all had an undo button. I think we'd be a lot better off in some ways. So, just out of curiosity, I'm asking folks in the chats, how is the video coming through? Is it jittery? Is it looking good? Whoop. I'm just waiting to see. There's always a time delay between my questions and people's answers. Oh, I see perfect. It's fine on my end, and it looks good from here. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. So, let's see here. Turn off the neutral. I said turn off the neutral. There we are. I don't know why it goes to a white if there's nothing there. All right. Last version was Angry Talk 3. Alrighty. So the next character pose I need to make for this fellow is confused. So we have one way to... the fun way is there's always a cheat. So I got sad. No, okay. That's a fun phrasing. I'm not sad. I'm just going stock raving mad from social distancing. Now, but I made a sad pose for this individual, but now we want to make it confused. Why am I copying confused? Or why am I copying sad? Because, and this is crucial, the joy of Illustrator and vectors is that they're not raster based like Photoshop. It's not a series of dots close together and your eye blends it all for your mind. It is independent mathematical equations represented as shapes. So I can just delete this eyelash, and rather than covering up this eye, I used a mask. Well, I get rid of the mask. And now, okay, looking a little bit more confused because of the shape of the eye and this frown, which again, I can make him really happy. But no, we want confused. But his mane provides an issue because I can barely see that little... There we go. So I'm going to move that down just a little. And then on the eye itself, I'm going to adjust... going to adjust the eyelash. Pardon me, a brief pause as I go over to Twitch, since I still have to iron out how I'm going to watch everyone's comments through an integrated chat. But if Twitch is going right now, maybe I can watch it, I can see people's comments there as well. That would be nice. Because I don't mean to neglect anyone. But again, I am an old man trying to do a young man's game. I have never felt the cultural divide so much as technology. I'm serious. There are people half my age who are whizzes at online streaming, and I'm not there yet. I think I was part of the generation just before this became easily approachable. So now I'm playing catch up. You could use your phone to check the chat. Good idea, Sprite I thought you're not old, Christine. I greatly appreciate that, but I am. If I'm well, oh, my friend James Cork is there. He's an old friend, started from the SBS show and has done art titles. I don't know. Maybe I should look into a co-pilot. It's a good idea. And there's Sapphire Heart Song reminding everyone I'm old. But for this one, chat, I am flying solo, so I will do my best to answer questions as I work. So, but yes, it's a good idea to find a co-pilot. So, but pardon me as I don't keep up with all the questions. So let's see here. Shouldn't have done that. This is the easy part because, well, all I got to do is rename it and then change the eyes. So all I've done is select everything in this group. This eye is grouped. It's like treating one collection as a single object. And if I double click, I can go in and I can move individual pieces of that object. This is why I love vectors. They are so easy to manipulate. And in doing so, you can do a lot more faster than if you were painting via Photoshop. That is not to say Photoshop doesn't have a fantastic use. I've been relying on it a great deal these past several days at my day job. But, oh, well, I'm doing this wrong. This is number 3. He's looking behind. But why not? Commit. But yeah, I use Photoshop when certain situations dictate, but if push comes to shove, I would rather do Illustrator. But, okay, so I made a 3. 1, 2, a 3. I don't always appreciate that not everyone can roll their R's. I find it particularly enjoyable. It's like compensation for the fact I can't whistle. So now let's assume that this guy was on screen with Silver-Quill, the hippogriff. Sooner or later, I'd confuse him greatly. I would likely drive this poor fellow bonkers. It's how I roll. A lot more. Dashicam97 pointing out a lot more faster is not proper grammar. And you are absolutely correct. I can feel Josh Scorcher and Sweetie Bloom screaming in the distance. That is actually how I drive them nuts as my friends. I do bad grammar. It's much funner. Oh, to Jose, I appreciate you asking folks to give me time to read, but it's okay. I will keep up as best I'm able. So, here we go. 3 quick poses. Just enough to look confused at the world. And if you're not confused at the world at this point, I envy your ability to comprehend. I sometimes just want to put my head under a rock and wait for everything to blow over. But now I need to make him talk. Because again, it doesn't make much sense to have voice coming out and his mouth is closed. Again, I think back to my Digimon days. It was such a fun show. One of the first animes. Funny enough, that's where my the silver part of my name comes from. I did some creative work on film fiction under Silver. So let's see here. Let's go with sad talk. Okay, so in this, I just want a nostril, le tongue, the mouth, and the snout. I'm going to copy those. Then I'm going to go up. And then I'm going to delete what's there. Now, here's my second favorite command after undo. Paste in place. All I got to do is select an item and hit, again, Mac user, Command F. You might think that would trigger a search function, but no. Command F is paste in place. Now, apparently, I should have clicked on this because look at the layering here. Not quite right. But with a few commands, I can make it go behind. Ooh. I heard a little something, but I don't know. I heard a trigger, but I don't know what it did. Again, this is why I think James is right. Ah, Little Teru is now following. Welcome, Little Teru. Ah. And yes, as John in the chat is saying, "Oh my God, what is wrong with your face?" Actually, funny thing about stallion faces. I try to add just a little bit of depth in My Little Pony, the show proper. I think his mouth would look a little bit more like this. Or something. Well, okay, not like that. They do it much better. I didn't really like that look for the stallions, at least in the early seasons. I should probably double check how it's animated in later ones. But I like to add just a little bit of depth, three-dimensional, at least imply it. Make the muzzle a little bit more square. Ooh. I have a question from Vicky saying, do you recommend a Pacific drawing table for a beginner? In all honesty, I do not know what a Pacific drawing table. Ooh, that's a fancy looking. That's fancy looking. You know, I like art tables. I actually have one set up in my room, but I've covered it in clutter. I find they're very helpful if you want to work on a bigger project or if you just need a dedicated workspace. You don't need to go super highfalutin. Mine is wood, just simple wood. I bought it one night in the middle of a snowstorm and drove home. That was, now that I say it aloud, that's how I bought my dinner room table as well. What is it about me and snow and feng shui? Okay, so when you're sad, there's a temptation to have you want your mouth to be kind of big to really express your frustration. Confused, your mind is drawing in on itself. It's trying to focus in on this thing that's just not connecting. And so I think having the mouth a little smaller is a good way to convey that. So all I did was shrink it down a little. And maybe I'll move this a little bit over. Oh, this is an anchor point. It's sort of the cornerstone of how something is going. So I'm going to move this maybe just a little bit of a frown. Ooh. Now, if I zoom in really close, you see these little spikes coming off? This is not part of the vector. It's just a trick of the stroke. See, I have this custom shape right here. You can have any number of custom shapes. And they can do just about anything you want, provided you know how to influence them. But, again, undo, 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 undo. There we go. So right now, this corner is so sharp that the math is a little off. All I got to do is take my anchor point tool, which I do everything by shortcuts. Anchor point tool, Shift-C. See, if I make it really hard, you can really see that pronounced triangle. So I'm just going to pull this out a little, create a curve, and that does away with these sharp angles. From Adrian, may I have permission to send you a fan art? I'd be very grateful. I appreciate those. Best way, I think, to send fan art is to tag me on Twitter, if possible. And if that's not available, you can always send me a note through DeviantArt or tag me there. I find that emails can get buried in spam, or I have notifications for YouTube comments. So I think social media is the way to go. Forgive me if I don't reply right away. Again, trying to catch up with the modern social media, I'm very poor in responding at times, but that doesn't mean I don't see. Ooh, and that was probably a double negative, so that's another bad grammar mark for me. I was asked the question, could I make a tutorial video? You know, in some ways, maybe that's what these streams should be, talking about how I do things. And if I can get this nailed down properly, my hope is that I will I can show you how I edit and how I put things together. Again, it's sort of making the time. And you know what I really like about this? When I used to do vectoring with Silver-Quill at conventions, but you only have an hour. And in the time it took to explain and get things going, I could only get a little bit of the way into the actual vectoring. So I think the funnest was Ants Lofty, Scootaloo's Aunts Lofty and Holiday. I started doing a panel where I was vectoring them, but I only got as far as their heads and necks. I needed to do more. So right now, just to make him confused and talking, again, just copy and paste the same look, and now he can have a dialogue. Is he going to use all this? Maybe not. But I find it's better to have a feast than a famine. I'd rather people have the poses available than if they need. Layla asks, "Do you love Five Nights at Freddy's?" I've never played, but I've witnessed the cultural impact. It is amazing. And I don't know where they're going. I have seen videos where they talk about whether or not this is all in the mind of someone who's going insane, or perhaps seeking reconciliation, or just to atonement. I don't know. But it's interesting to see what games can inspire. All right, so let's see here. I've got Kidding Me. Just looking through my checklist. Kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Oh, but hang on. I found an error. He's not talking. This is Kidding Me Talk 3. He's not talking. Easy fix. Again, you just do a quick little copy. And there you don't go. Again, the joys of layering. It can be very hypnotic if you do it properly. Or rather, I should say, as you see patterns unfolding as you rearrange the layers. It's, again, cheap entertainment. Let's see here. So, the Kidding Me Talk. Neutral, got that. Pleased. Alrighty, I do not have pleased. But this one is, again, a pretty easy modification. It's not, again, it's minor things. I think one of the best things in animation is when it's the subtle looks. Believe me, I love a good over-the-top reaction. Years of anime has taught me that. But I also just appreciate those quiet moments. Case in point, Mickey's Christmas Carol. The very subtle way Mickey, as Bob Cratchit, is mourning Tiny Tim. Oh, you don't need big expressions to make me cry. All right, 3, 4, pleased 1. Pleased is just a catch-all term I use for, if you're just really, and you know it, stomp your hooves. That was a very weak hoof. So there's that. Oh, I went too far. Don't need that. I think I will also look into, well, music's a bit of a tender topic with streaming. I know a lot of people talk about how a copyright bot will strike you down just for, even if I use royalty-free music, for which I have an account with DeWolf Music. But they'll strike you down for it, even if you have permission to use it. And then what are you going to do? So you got to rely on my melodious voice. I should try for super smexy talk, but I don't know if I can. Oh, now here's the thing. Given that his eyes are closed, there's really no point in having another pleased. You know, there's just one. And this is where he's like seeing something he really enjoys, or maybe did a little something that makes him happy. Just, you know, little pleasures in life. Let's see here. I got a question from Jeff. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Silver, if you had to ship Sunset Shimmer with anyone, who would you ship her with? And also, do you think Sunset could be Celestia's daughter, either adopted or born? I don't think she's Celestia's daughter. I don't think Celestia has any biological children, which is perhaps why she reaches out to so many. She adopted Cadence as a niece. I find that interesting. If you believe the expanded fiction, especially Twilight Sparkle and the Crystal Heart spell, which talks about Cadence's origin, Cadence was adopted as a niece, not Celestia's daughter. That's interesting. And from what I hear, back when the show was in development, Celestia would have referred to Spike as her son, which is another interesting thing. I'm rather surprised we didn't get that. I don't know if maybe it was too controversial for the executives. I don't know. But either way, Celestia is more than happy to bring in ponies she cares about, but family, I think, is uniquely reserved. In terms of relations, I think Twilight is the closest she has to a daughter, and she's shown a lot of pride. But now, who would I ship Sunset Shimmer with? Ship Sunset Shimmer. Ship Sunset Shimmer. That takes a bit of work. I know this is going to sound weird because I give him so much grief in my videos, but if Flash Sentry could, how do I put this? I think they would be a good couple. I like their interaction in Revenge of Everfree, but Flash right now, as we saw in like the holiday shorts, the last Equestria Girls collection of specials, he needs to stop trying to be her cheering section or, for lack of a better word, subordinate. She needs a partner. So he needs to first respect himself before he can really get her to see him as a potential love interest. He has to believe in himself more. Welcome, Omega Cannon. Thank you for following. Have I played Paladins? Is it better than Overwatch? I have seen a friend playing Paladins. I have not gotten to play it myself. It looks like a good contender to Overwatch, but truth be told, I do really like Overwatch. Although, given how things have been going lately, I haven't had much time to play. Phooey, I say. Phooey! So, give me laughter. Oh, laughter's fun. Laughter's where you get to be just a little crazy. So, let's take, and because it involves talking, let's just take the talk pose. We're going to have a little bit of fun with arrangements. So, laughter 1. Actually, you know what? Laughter as well. Do I have that? I have laughter as needing 3 poses, but I think it really needs just 1, because if you're genuinely laughing, you're not trying to look at anyone. If anything, I sometimes close my eyes when I'm laughing, if I'm laughing hard enough. There are points in my life where I've been laughing so hard I literally fell over. So, let's see here. That was the back of his neck just selected there. This is the rotate tool. And if I have a lot of items selected, if I put the rotator anchor point right here, I can move the head up and down. But it looks like I should have selected that. So, try again. Move the head up. And we're going to move it over a little. And if I can just change the layering, there we go. That covers up one thing. Now, right now, that is not a pose anyone should make. If someone is there, that is someone trying to look down on you when they're the same height. Oh, someone's saying, I decapitated him. Oh, you want decapitation? Here we go. Brutal Legend. Decapitation! But now, first things first, when you laugh, you're not just talking, you are being very vocal in your enjoyment. Whoa. That's what happens when you don't get 1 anchor point. So, let's also change the tongue here. This is a good chance just to show a very basic vectoring. So, 1 point, another point, another point. There you go. Triangle. Then, using another tool, so that was my pen tool right here. Over here, come on. This is my curve tool. Curvature tool. Pardon me. This is actually something I only recently discovered, and it's really helpful. It does the curving for you. Now, there's also a remove anchor point tool. So, I can make the tongue curve, curve, add another little curve here. All it is adding anchor points, which are like signposts. It's saying to the computer, here, have this path go from here to here. Okay, now we've added another point. Now we want to go up here, but there's a little indicator that it's going to curve. So add a curve. That's how you make, that's one way to make an arc. Another way to make an arc is good writing, but that's a story for another day. So, and now I just paste in place and it's properly layered because I selected the one layer it's meant to go above. But again, this is still not looking right at all. No. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. So what I find really fun is that you go a little cross-eyed when you're happy. Let's move just that little bit there. Move this back a little. Mirror this so that you know his eyes are pointing inward. Whoop. Rotation. There we go. Now, I'm just going to do this for giggles. I'm going to take, this is our eyelash. This is his eyeball. I'm going to group them together, and I'm going to make a mask. This enables me to then draw just, okay, right now I'm in the object, now I'm in the mask. Within this, all I need to do is draw a black sphere or oval, and that will cover up his eyes. It's saying to the computer, don't show this part. Keep it hidden. Now, you can do it the other way too. You can turn on the clipping, and that'll cover everything up unless you put a white overlay. Whoa. Okay, I just invented a new pose. This is drunk. How dry I am. How dry I am. I notice you. Amazing gumball. But no, I don't think I'll make drunk part of the pose sets I do for people. That would be that would be encouraging the wrong behavior. Now, this is another good time to demonstrate one of the features I love about Illustrator. When I started out, my method for like making this a curve would have been to turn it into an outline, add an anchor point, and delete these two. And even then I'd have to adjust it. Good idea, it worked, but it also had some problems. I could no longer manipulate the stroke because it had become an object. It's the difference between drawing a line, like so, and drawing a filled circle. This is the fill, this is the stroke. So instead, undo. Gonna go back to the stroke, and this is what I love. In the line tool, profile, little semi-crescent. It's like it's almost like a crescent moon. It's perfect. It works wonderfully. Joe Holloway, I was sober once. I no longer make that mistake. Well said. So let's see here. Gumball has asked, have I heard of Death Battle? Oh, I watch it regularly. I don't always agree, but it's fun to see, and I appreciate what... Although, here's the funny thing. Not once have I tried to fact-check their physics. I should probably ask Fiora the Tank Girl, as I'm sure she could readily. But I've never really checked the physics they have, so I often want to call baloney. And yet there are also times where I say, even though I don't want to, yeah, that's probably true. Like Raven versus Twilight Sparkle. I don't like to see Twilight lose, but DC is not known for half measures in terms of character power. So there we go. Okay, looking at this, I feel like his jaw is jutting too far forward. Whoop. I see the stream flickering just a little. Ah, it's because I'm zooming in and out. Apologies, everyone. And maybe retreat the tongue just a little. Le tongue. There we go. So, laughter. He's having a good time. Veston Bruno asks, why haven't you reviewed any season 6 episodes for After the Fact? I got so far behind and we were on the final season, I decided to jump forward a little. Not because I had any delusions about keeping pace. If anything, I fully expected the episodes to be released early, which I think kind of took some of the passion out of reviewing for a lot of folks. You can't keep up, it's just not possible. So, but I still want to at least talk about this final season and then double back and look at things from the perspective of someone who has seen what comes later. Did this set something up? Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. And there are things to talk about here. One thing I'd really love to talk about someday is Thorax and Rockhoof and the concept of the return in the hero's journey. You see things like Twilight coming back to be a ruler, but sometimes that return isn't so smooth or celebrated. You had Thorax, who was struggling with this new perspective in the changeling community, and Rockhoof just wasn't able to adapt. He wasn't able to commit to this new life, and for a time he wanted to withdraw. That is one possibility of the return. If you ever hear the Japanese tale of Urashima Taro, which my school did a play on, which is why I know it, he goes on an adventure but returns as an old man. His place in the world is somewhat lost. And that's rough, but he chooses to stay for his family. So that's a tough decision. I think that's just as heroic as defeating a giant sea scorpion. Again, read the book, watch the play, however you do it, it's a really great tale. Let's see here. Next up is one of the funner ones, Scrunchy. And this one I will do a 1, 2, 3. Scrunchy is basically when you're like, I think Applejack telling a fib. Or one of the ponies kind of confused. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to do this. Maybe take it down a little because it's not as thick. Oh, what I was using there is the eyedropper tool. If you use it on a color, it fills it in. If you use it on a stroke, it mimics the stroke. If you hold down shift, you can color the stroke. All these little bells and whistles, and I didn't know half of this starting out. It's all been just trial and error, Google searches and YouTube videos, and and the MLP Vector Club on DeviantArt. They've posted tutorials, they've posted different ideas, how-tos, and really great resources. I think they've tapered off as the seasons have gone on, which is why, again, I was drawing my own stuff. But what they have is great, and I'm so grateful to them for making it available. Despite my attempts to vector, I have nowhere near the accuracy. I mean, they are curve for curve, point for point, a replication of the show. So there we go. And ba-doom. So, okay, little scrunchier. Not quite right, though. Let's take all this and move it up. I'm intentionally not selecting this one. I will, however, take some of the edge off this one. Let's see, one of the, when I was in the anime fandom more, well, I was never active in the way I've been as a My Little Pony fan, but I was going to a lot of anime conventions and just sketching and trying stuff on my own. Let's take that down to maybe 1.5. There we go. A little too thick on the line there. There was a fellow, let's see, he was on artplaymix.com. What was this fellow's name? Art Play Mix. There's an artist. He's a really good guy. I still have some of his works. But dang it, I can't find. Meet the artist. Here we go. Sorry, I'm just looking this up because I want to give this guy a proper plug. He was one of the great inspirations, and one of the things he taught me was Jason. Although artplaymix.com does not appear to be up anymore. Well, Jason was this great artist. He had all manner of sketchbooks and pieces. I own several of his works. But he said during an art panel, everything's more fun with sound effects. So while you're drawing, make sound effects. So while I'm doing this, I should be going, yup. Of course, I should also just use my sound box. But that's only if I curse. Hello, Weeple Cakes. Veston asks, have you ever watched Larry Boy and Fib from Outer Space? I have not. I'd have never heard of that. Okay, so yeah, a little confused, maybe caught in a lie. Then Scrunchy numero dos. We're just going to have him, maybe he doesn't. Actually, wait, if this is numero dos, then I should go over here. So now he's looking over at maybe someone doing something really, really dumb. Probably Silver-Quill. And then over here on Scrunchy 3, we'll just take this. Now, whoop, yep. Oh, that's one other trick. If I accidentally unselect something and do either undo or redo, the selection comes back. It's saved me more than a few times when I accidentally lost a piece. Again, it's not just undoing mistakes of formatting. Undo is the gift to all stupidity. Let's see here. William Gannis is asking but I cannot find your message, William. I'm sorry about it. Oh, here we go. Did you check on Gundam Build Drivers RE Rise, which I believe is one of the online ones? I've seen the model kits. I have not checked out the show because, how do I put this? I really enjoyed Gundam Build Fighters and Try. This, for those who don't know, Gundam, long-standing franchise, but recently they started to embrace full merchandising by having a show where kids build Gundam model kits and have them fight. Kind of like tap into the Pokemon craze and create Gunpla kits. But the thing, and through magic, it's a bit like Yu-Gi-Oh! And using holograms for trading cards and nothing else. It's utterly absurd, but you kind of have fun once you just accept the premise. You're like, okay, they're going to do this. Why not? But then they moved it to the online world, I think to tap into Isekai, where the online world is suddenly much more prevalent. I'm less a fan because now suddenly there's not even the risk. In Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, your Gunpla could be damaged. If your toy took a hit, it could break, and you'd have to devote time, and you can only patch something so often before it becomes unusable. Now that they moved online, it's downloaded data. It gets destroyed, you just upload the latest version. A very real risk is absent then. And so, the funny thing is, shonen anime especially goes for absurd extremes to create an emotional response, and I think it succeeds. But if you take away the risk, what's the success? Where's the emotion? Let's see here. Veston asks about VeggieTales, Rugrats, and Blue's Clues. Only saw Rugrats growing up. Oh, Jasper's in here. Hey, Jasper. And let's see here. Tara asks about Pony Life. What do I think about it? Right now, it's a big unknown. I don't like unknowns, but I find the stop motion shorts to be very adorable. If that were my first introduction to MLP, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a kid's cartoon. There's not a lot to latch onto there in discussion for me, but it's still sweet. And if used in the larger context of the show, yeah, I could talk some more about it. But I don't think that's going to be Pony Life, and I need to first I need to see that properly. Okay, we're doing so. I'm not going to write it off, but I haven't seen enough. As I said in a video, all I know right now is what it's not, and that's not a good way to define it. It's not adventure based. It's not going to see a larger part of Equestria. It's not. I feel like I'm quoting Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. It's not him. But right now, that's all it is to me. It's just a collection of knots, and I need to know what it is before I can really weigh in on it. So whenever it comes out, I don't know when. I imagine that the COVID isolation may delay its production or release. A lot of things right now are big unknowns. So what do you do in a big unknown? You just try to be yourself. That's all. I think that's all anyone can really ask. Let's see here. At one point, a person was asking how I got into MLP. How did I get into MLP? Well, I was working a job for a time where I didn't get to see people at their best, and I'd come home and I just needed to like decompress. And so I'd go online, and the thing is, primetime lost me a good while ago. There just isn't anything I'm really drawn to, especially now that so much of it is available on demand or online. So I instead relied on internet shows, review videos, Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, Red versus Blue, and all those times, eventually someone would mention My Little Pony. It's like, My Little Pony? Isn't that what I didn't watch when I was growing up because Transformers and G.I. Joe was on? And yet I knew the Smooth song. I don't know if anyone failed to know the Smooth song. It was just there. Uh, but it wasn't until I saw CR, then on That Guy with the Glasses, do a retrospective and a review of the pilot episodes that I decided to give it a look. And I did minor binges, like 3 episodes a night for a couple weeks. It carried me through season 1 and the start of season 2. I think lesson 0, no, Luna Eclipse was the first independent episode, brand new, I witnessed, that might explain a few things about my adoration of Luna. But I found that I was consistently entertained, but I was not what I would call a brony until I started seeing the fan creativity, the videos, the music. There was a remix of Pinky's Giggle at the Ghosties song, which I just loved deeply and would listen to as often as I could. It's just so catchy and dancey. Wow, I keep doing this. I keep jumping to 3 over 2. Apparently, I'm not just bad at grammar, I'm bad at counting. But and then I realized there was one bit of artwork by Harwick. One Last Parade, it's titled. And it shows an elderly Twilight riding an adult Spike with Celestia watching over her. You can tell she's not long for this world. And she's enjoying a parade with all of Ponyville arrayed to celebrate her. And she looks so happy. And it just did such an emotional pull on me. It didn't help that I saw this around my birthday, that I realized, wow, I wouldn't really care unless I was a fan. So there I was. I realized then, yeah, I am most definitely hooked. Oh, and Aria Diamond and Sweetie Bloom are here. Thank you both for joining me. Now, another question that came up is, who are my favorite collaborators? Anthony C., for one. He spearheaded Nightmare Nights 2014, came up with the character of Berental Tales. Thrill me! And he did just a marvelous job putting that together. He is such a passionate individual. Josh Scorcher is also a really fun collab partner. We have sort of a mutual humor, and it's based on sort of polar antagonism. Mine is to drive my counterpart nuts. And his is what I call, well, okay, in improv comedy they called it blocking humor. You say no, you shut people down, or in his case, you point an M16 at their head, and the two complement each other. In improv itself, no is actually a bit taboo. You don't want to shut the other person's idea down because that kills the scene. But in a scripting session, you can actually have more fun with it, partly because you don't have to be so off the cuff. Let's see here. I've done, this is stunned. Now, I think for another, well, we're going to go from full stun, just completely speechless, to surprised. There's really only one difference with this. So, just, I like people who are willing to have a sense of humor and are willing to make fun of themselves as well as as well as the show. But above all, I think the funnest people are the ones who aren't trying to force a reaction. They're trying to earn it. And there's a very critical difference. When you force a reaction from people, you're usually just trying to be offensive. And that gimmick gets old. And I don't enjoy it. Pardon me a second. I'm going to dive into the laughter here. We're going to twist the laughter a little. But if you earn something by through wit and inviting them, you can still be making fun of something. But usually it's not, it's hard to put into words. You can make fun of something, but it's more inviting people to join in the laugh than making someone else the butt of the joke and deflecting attention away from yourself. I think there's greater confidence in trying to invite laughter than force it. Now, improper layer. Okay, that looks like I've broken his mind, and he is about to go cuckoo. Oh, wait, no, I got a sound effect for this. So no, this will not do, but it's got a good opening. So we're just going to turn these up, get rid of that little thing, and draw in the tongue down here, because it's when you're slack-jawed, you're not really, I don't think you're lifting your tongue up. I think it's just as slack. Sounds mildly inappropriate. And also I kind of got a big Macintosh curve here, I think. Jonah, close your mouth. You're letting all the flies out. Have you seen and what do you think of the Digimon Adventure 2020 reboot? That I don't know. Also, welcome to Fox Anderson. I do not know a 2020 reboot. I know of a anniversary movie that, well, I haven't actually seen and I don't know the current status, but I haven't heard anything about a reboot. I mean, Hollywood's doing it. Why not? Everything's a reboot now. Which, okay, that's not strictly true. There are nuggets of originality. Wow, even when I'm typing, I skip to 3. What the hey? But I haven't heard anything about a Digimon reboot. I don't know what to feel about that. Unless it's Digimon Adventure Tri, which is, I understand, is more a sequel. But, as with so many things, I've not carved out the time to view it. Again, it's not do you have the time, it's do you make the time. I will say, with social distancing in full effect, people are saying, oh, what a time to be an introvert. I say this as an introvert. I'm actually talking with people more because because my friends need folks to talk with, and my family, we connect through calls, connected with more people because I'm an introvert. But I'm not a misanthrope. I don't want to cut people out of my life. Stormy Sparkler, who saw me at HarmonyCon, says, how have you been? I've been a roller coaster. I mean, even before COVID-19, I'd even heard of it, life was taking on new shapes. I was still trying to find my equilibrium. Going to HarmonyCon this year, And I stagger to think that might be the only physical convention I might be able to attend. That was a real shot in the spirit and just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I'm doing well overall. That's the key thing. But life throws things up and down. Ah, and now there are questions like, actually, there's a question I forgot to answer from my earlier false start stream. When is the next Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight? When's the next Clutterstep comic? And when's the next review? Next review is in progress. I'm going to be working on that for this weekend. I still need to come up with a title card, a few background images, and that Genji pony I attempted to show at the start of the stream. Let's see here. And then I need to actually make the recording and do the editing. The general rule is 1 minute of video is 1 hour of editing. And as my videos get longer, I spend more time editing. I've looked into the idea of hiring an editor, but one, despite what you may think, the financing I make through Patreon or sales, that goes towards the licensing fees for a royalty-free library, and it goes right back into After the Fact. I'm not living off it. I have a day job for that. And there's also this fear I have. It's that you stop getting involved in the creation, you stop really caring. I don't know how many Kamen Rider fans are out there, but there is the current series that's going on, 01. It features, one episode featured a manga artist who was legendary, but to keep up with the demand, he'd hired a group of, basically android workers. They're called Humagears. And he depended on them so much that he'd stopped drawing altogether. He just basically collected the royalty fees. I mean, the Humagears were faster. They got it done. They were consistent. And in doing so, as the song goes, you trade your passion for glory. I looked at that episode and I just thought, oh, that's kind of what I fear. I don't want to lose that creative level. And yet I can't deny that there's a benefit to having many hands making for lighter work. Now, the same is true for Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight. I do not have anyone else working on me with that. I often have to draw my own backgrounds nowadays, or thankfully make use of backgrounds other people have made available. Bones Walbut, he does a lot of the Ponyville backgrounds that I rely upon, and it's wonderful. He does great work. So honestly, I've batted around ideas for Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight, getting advice from friends on what would be good humor. But one thing I really need to know, and hey, I have a stream of people right here sharing their thoughts. Who would you like to see in Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight? Who are some characters who maybe haven't been witnessed yet? Pardon me. So, and here I am. I'm doing now. I call this the smug pose, but I would also call it the Rico Suave. Let's see here. Oh yeah. So that's when you're just really proud of yourself. Although maybe let's just test something. What if I just decrease the grin just a little? He's not like full on happy, but he's like, yeah, I know. And then Clutterstep, whom I've neglected for, I think, close to a year. That should be my next priority. I've left him in the wind for far too long. Part of it was drawing Double Dang Cloudsdale for a flashback. And good gravy. That's actually where I learned the curvature tool. Because Cloudsdale is nothing but curves and fluff and pillars. It's very Freudian. And so, that should be next. Maybe I should make that commitment. Or maybe I should do that for fulfillment Friday. Because I found fulfillment in completing things. I actually read an article recently that for men in the all-encompassing vague sense, this will vary by individuals, but according to this article, the surest way for happiness with men is to know that there's a sense of purpose to their work. And that's why I love my videos. I get feedback, I get to hear that it's had a very positive contribution. There have been jobs in the past where you're a cog in the machine and you don't know if you're helping anyone, and it can drain you. So I feel like I'm rambling. Oh, Noah Eden asks, have your feelings change about magic sheep? Do princesses dream of magic sheep? I was very critical of the timing of that episode. I felt like it was a step back for Luna's character. Uh, but at the time, there was one thing I didn't know, and that was the concept of integrating the shadow. Uh, this is a Jungian archetype idea. You have the archetype as its pinnacle, the best self, but you also have the shadow. And who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men and women and others. Basically, you don't destroy the shadow. You can't. It's a part of you. In fact, a great deal of your strength can reside in that. No, what you need to do is integrate it, move the unconscious into the conscious. Now, maybe and I think that's part of why the whole Tantabus thing troubled me, because Luna was very conscious about it. This wasn't something that arose out of her control. She intentionally created it. If it had been an unintentional creation, a manifestation of feelings that she hadn't fully confronted, I think it would have meant something different to me. But I can't deny that at the end, when she accepts the Tantabus and forgives herself for her past mistakes, the Tantabus is not destroyed. It shrinks down and it walks, and they combine because it's a part of her and she's integrated. She's moved it from the unaware into the aware. And I think that's actually a more positive representation. Still a little unsure about the timing of it, but hey, there's still a lot to really enjoy about it. Let's see here. Now, let's see here. This, I believe I've completed my checklist for the various poses. Let's try and go through this real quick. We have scrunchy. We have smug. We have the neutral. Starstruck. Yeah, I'll stop flashing wide over. Laughter. It's the best medicine. Glee. Sad. Sad talk. Oh, I didn't get to show this. Oh, weepy. My weepy is not all that weepy. That's no good. Okay, basically I duplicated the sad, but I think I forgot to add the tears. Well, here we go. Now I get to show you guys a little something. But I have to just hop through my files real quick. Go into my resources. Here we go. Here is Silver-Quill. This is my pose bank for Silver-Quill. And if you must know, I've been at this a while. There's so many wireframes. I can't even make it out. Yeah, I've been at this a while. So this one was from Tradia. Brain freeze while wearing the Alicorn amulet. But down here we have the Weepy. And this is a little shortcut. I like to share elements. This is just a group. And over here where I made the mask, this is just 80% opaque. So, whoop. There's that brain freeze again. There we go. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to copy it. Again, this is something really fun because if I were doing this in Photoshop, I could copy the tears off one character and paste them in another if they were on their own layer, and if the two files were the same resolution, and if it blended really cleanly, and if. But here, whoop, turn off the starstruck, turn off the neutral. Let's get up to the weepy. Whoops, I was on the weepy. This is also one of the frustrations of my current format. You see, I don't have to deal with all those ifs. I just have to copy paste, and because it's vector, because it's just a math equation, you can scale up and down all around. And my character's eyes are a little flatter. So what we're going to do, envelope distort, make with warp, and we arc. And you see, I'm very emotionally open because I will share my tears with others. Maybe a little too big there. We don't want him to be like... Was at the Alamo Draft House before all this started. It was right before... Actually, it was just at the front. The last movie I got to see in theaters was Onward. Name escaped me there for a minute. And at the beginning, they had an animated short about a father teaching his son that it's okay to cry, that you got to get that poison out of you, which is so countercultural a message, as at least when I was growing up, guys don't cry. And I really appreciated seeing that. I liked hearing that because it is true. You get the poison out of you. It's when you try to contain it, when you try to keep it unconscious. That's what suppressing the shadow is. You're not addressing it. You're not confronting it. You're not integrating it. And it won't be ignored. It will influence you in ways unconscious. Procrastination, lethargy, straining relationships, or making half-hearted effort. It can really wear on you. Cotton Lum asking, how many ships have you done so far with the MLP fandom? Asking Sweetie Bloom, who answers, I've lost count. Now, you can't really see his eye on the other side, so I don't think I need to worry about the tears there. But now I'm in a unique place. There was a lot I did to modify the eye and all this. So I'm going to copy the whole eye. And then in something terribly perverse, I'm going to gouge his eye out. Yes, I'm going to sound crazy when I do this. Ooh. So, paste in place. Boom. And we just move this. Oh. But look at this. I pasted in the wrong place. What would happen if I did this? No. So, because I did that a little bit wrong, I just got to bring it up. Move the unconscious, the obscured, into conscious. By the way, I feel like I should include this. I don't like it when you have to include a disclaimer because that usually hints you should have worded things better. I should have as well. But I am not a psychologist. I am an advocate for counseling. If you're facing something, there is no shame in seeking out a professional's insight. And there's no weakness in it. If anything, it is an act of strength that you are willing to address this. And it's not an instant process. One of the big things is that a counselor, someone who's offering you guidance in life, they'll actually won't talk or tell you that much. They'll let you counsel yourself as you say things aloud and process it. And they may ask, how does that make you feel? And it's kind of funny how little we often answer that question to ourselves. Also, how do I put this? Actually, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Oops. Basically, yes. What I was going to say is that very often in conversations, we're distracted by what we think we should say next. And that is actually what shuts us down to good communication. A counselor is often very good at silence and listening. Oh, Aaron Gonzalez asks if I would draw my character as a common writer. I've considered branching out, and if I did, I would draw a common writer Silver-Quill. Because, well, I think that makes the most sense. I made this wonderful hippogriff that I've come to enjoy so much because I liked MLP, and I wanted to stand out. But if you try to apply MLP to common writer, there's an overlap of fan bases, but I wouldn't be... I don't think I'd be respecting the creation as its own thing. I'd still be an MLP fan trying to review Kamen Rider. Oh, the discussion I would love to have about both Gaim and Zero One. Two stories that were amazingly, well, okay, Zero One is going right now, and it's tackled a lot. I think it's been wonderful thus far. Uh, Gaim was the unexpected hit. I thought it was going to be so dumb. It started with dance groups dance battling for territory in Japan, in Tokyo, meant to represent the feudal era, the romance of the. I believe it's no that. Oh dear, my history is knowledge is showing. The romance of the three kingdoms was China, I believe. So probably wrong there. But at first I thought this was going to be so dumb, a Kamen Riders and a dance off. But it got mature and heavy very quickly. And it lived up to the legacy of Kamen Rider, which is often, if you like Power Rangers, Kamen Rider is its darker counterpart. It's a bit more mature, it's a bit heavier. Don't judge it by Masked Rider, which was a bad import in my eyes. Let's see here. Favorite animated film? Oh, that's a hard one. You know, I'm seated right next to my Blu-ray DVD collection. I look through. I really don't. I guess for emotional impact, Transformers the movie and the death of Optimus Prime will always resonate. And hearing that '80s power song, "You Got the Touch," always gets my blood pumping. It is not the best in terms of writing or story. And man, if you ever talk about the flaws of the Chosen One arc, Rodimus Prime's ascension was not well done. And yet I can't deny that it connected on an emotional level, and it remains. It was one of the first things I wanted to own. Uh, but in terms of, but more recent and even better emotional reactions would be Up and Inside Out, because that's both emotional connection and really great storytelling. Let's see here. Master Riku, Keyblade wielder in the audience, asking if I've ever watched Zoids. I have watched Zoids. I have watched Zoid Zero, which was the first Zoids, but the first Zoids became Zoids Chaotic Century, and now I feel like I'm talking about the Star Wars prequels. Ow. Basically, there have been five actually, five iterations of Zoids. I've seen four of them. Zoids, the original, what became Chaotic Century. Zoids Zero, which was Bit Cloud and Liger Zero. Zoids Fusers. Zoids Genesis. There we go. Zoids Genesis. I've not seen Zoids Wild. And I guess it's kind of like Gundam Build Fighters. The franchise adapts to match the current trend. All right, so here I was saying I was all done with the three-quarter poses, at least in the basics. Angry pose. Let's see, angry. Oh, yep, got a little frowny there. Angry, confused. We were working on that. I'm just going over my trend. Confused, glee, kidding me, laughter, neutral, pleased, earth, fire, wind, water, heart. Surprised, smug, yes. Now, that's just the three quarters, dude. Believe it or not, as trying to keep this package complete, there's still portrait and there's still profile. Now, truth be told, these are much less involved because I don't have to do 1, 2, 3s for each one. Usually there's just, if he's facing one direction, his eyes are going to be that direction. If he's looking you head on, I might do 1 or 2 with his eyes looking left and right. But usually if he's looking head on, he's going to be looking at the audience. But there are other things. This is why a little part of me, especially if I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's like, no, why do you have a pony with wings? How could you do this to me? Because what good is having an OC with wings if they're folded up all the time? Right? Right. So, This I get to show off something I've been working on in the background, in between. I did get to show this off in one of my Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight comics. Here we are. Royal Guards. Shoot. Where did I put my guards file? Royal Guards 2, which is in... Huh. I must have been staring at the screen too long. My eyes... I need to get my eyes checked. Yeah! Check this out. Again, a bit like the 1, 2, 3s. I have all... I looked through the episodes and noticed all the permutations of guards with different coat colors. We've come a long way from just these two. And, funny enough, working through the the cutie remark, I found a few night guards. But what I really want, right now, I just need one wing. Gonna make a one-winged angel. Veni, veni, vanitas, Sephiroth. So let's take a look. That's a pretty... Whoop, no. Right now, I'm just going to take neutral. Now, I'm going to take his wing. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Because I guess because of what I see in this, there's a lot more power to it. So then, I realize I never even commented on the framing. You see, this black line, this is the art box. This is the limit of the image if I were to export it. But this is set up to be used with video. And in video, you have graphics safe, which is the boundary where you can safely say that it won't get cut off no matter what monitor it's on. Doesn't matter if it's a smartphone, a tablet, an old TV, a modern flat screen, it won't get cut off. This is the title safe, where you get really paranoid. All your text should stay within this box. Now, I'm taking a little bit of a risk here because I'm going beyond the graphics safe, but I don't want it to go further than this boundary. Otherwise, it would crop off at the image. One of the joys with video editing is that you can scale things up and down. And at the resolution I export these, there's plenty of room. But looking back at the Royal Guards, oh yeah, that's something I realized. I don't think the bat ponies have ever been shown to tuck their wings. Given the sweeping nature of Luna's armor, I don't think they can. Huh. Or maybe they're just really tense. So I'm going to modify the wings a little. Look at my... Let's see here. Sorry, just taking a quick peek at the chat. Let's see. So, pardon me. Just looking for questions, seeing how folks are doing. I appreciate you've all stuck with me for close to an hour and a half. I'm going to be... After I finish these wings, I think we'll call it an evening, and I will... There's some... It's less interesting to see me applying these. I'm going to remove the wings. I'm going to remove these folded wings from each pose and just paste in place this one after I make it satisfactory. I should ask if... I should check with the owner of this to see if he would like this little hook. But as it's not visible here, I'm going to say for this time being, no. That it's an assumption, and you know what they say when you make an assumption. But for the purposes of showing this off, I want to get everyone's thoughts. Here we go. So, also, I believe I just heard a new follower. Much appreciated. But I don't know who just yet. So, here we go. Nope, doing that wrong. Wrong. That's cute, but it's wrong. There we go. There's that shift click I was talking about. Jose is asking, have you seen Mazinger Z? I have seen clips. I have seen highlight battles. I have not seen the full piece. Mazinger Z is an old school anime where from the days when robots were mostly superheroes. It's the trend that Gundam challenged or was very unconventional. These days, it's kind of hard to capture that mindset as so many series are the robots are both heroes or tools of war. But this is like, how to put it? If you've seen something like King of Braves Gao Geiger, it's in that vein. So I've seen clips, but I haven't really gotten to see the whole blessed series. What are your thoughts on Watchmen, graphic novel or the show? I confess I've only gotten to see the movie, which, from what I hear, I thought was really good. I thought, well, I thought a lot of things. It's like, wow, they did that. They did that too. Wow. But at the end of the day, I've only seen the movie, and the movie is not a good comparison to the comic. So, from what I can tell, Watchmen is a really good example of satire, and I don't mean comedic satire. I mean the message is no person should be trusted with this much power. It's a bad thing. Superheroes are ultimately really bad idea. At least that's the impression I get from it. Now, what can I do for you? There we go. So that's my 2 cents. I think it's really well done. I should see the series to know what it's about. But mostly I feel like I think it's called The Boys. A group of superheroes that are much more bullies than anything. It's again raising that question of who would you trust with this much power? I mean, let's be honest. Vigilantism is often touched upon, but we always assume Batman is in the right. Suppose for a moment he was even less sane or mentally stable. This is a bit different for me. No matter what I do with this clipping mask, which keeps parts of this thing invisible, it will not go away. That little line is right there, taunting me. Vexed. And no, I don't mean like Destiny 2 Vex. That's just no. But, bit like makeup. Cover the blemish. Okay. And we'll just move this up. There we go. Much more blended. I see. Placeholder is asking, have I read Ready Player One? And I have. I listened to the audiobook while I worked on videos, and I really enjoyed it. I got the references. I haven't seen the movie because if there's, it's sort of the polar opposite of when I watch Watchmen. I figure if I've read the book, the movie won't be able to compete. Certainly that way for Ender's Game. All right, making the back wing. I think I'm going to make these just a little smaller. There we go. And this one a little smaller still because the back wing is more distant. Now, what's the smart way? The smart way is just to I'm going to duplicate this, make it dark, and reduce that darkness to maybe 20%. And that way you have a little shade. Creates a little atmospheric distancing. So now he is standing quite proud. Oh. But my little blemish cover, it didn't move. It didn't move with my work. There we go. So now I'm going to spend a little time just copying and pasting this into the other poses as a, let's see here. I'll call this Neutral Wings 1. Actually, scratch that. No, keep it. Naming convention because files are alphabetized. I feel like, no, all the wings should be together. grouped on their own. Makes it easier to sort them. So, wings, neutral, 1. I'll also have a pose set where he's pointing with his hoof, and I'll show you real quick how I do that. I take a leg, rotate it, and then I use my shear tool, put it right smack in the center, and I stretch it out so he's kind of pointing. Maybe thicken it up just a little. And then because it's now moving outward, I'm going to change the colors to match as if it were properly lit. So now it's if you want to point at a clip or point something out. Carlos at least says what kind of program it is. This is Adobe Illustrator. It's my preferred vectoring program. Oh, and I see Rockstar the Metalhead Brownie. Good to see you. So I apologize that I haven't been able to answer everyone's questions. James, I think, had the very real and good idea to have a helper just chat things up. I'll see whom I could recruit for next week and see if we can have a little chat while we do some more work. I will. Well, okay. You know, one of the reasons I wanted to do this stream is that it's easy to say I'm going to do something. It's harder to do it. So I shouldn't just make promises. But if I commit to this time, now that I've done it once, I'll want to do it again and do better. So I will keep be working on this, either if not this weekend, then during the next stream. And I will show you what progress I've made, further changes, and I'm just going to keep doing this until I've fulfilled my Patreon pledges, and to show how I like to make my videos. And perhaps off this, I can get ideas from the audience to improve my work, maybe streamline the process, do things smarter, not harder. So I just want to give a big thank you to everyone who watched, everyone who took the time and listened to me, asked questions, and interacted, and just encouraged me to keep trying. Also want to give a shout out to Fiora the Tank Girl and Bad Munchkin, both of whom talked me through getting streaming set up. And we'll just go from there. So everyone, I thank you profusely. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Stay safe and stay healthy. Until next time.